Okay, all right. Scholars, let's see if this is going to work. Okay, we're looking at Cesar Chavez. You're reading an excellent biography by Miriam Paul. I wanted to just sort of encourage you toward that biography. Cesar Chavez, it's a national Cesar Chavez Day. March 31st celebrates the birthday of Cesar Estrada Chavez, and it serves as a tribute to his commitment to social justice and respect for human dignity. And then we in California are encouraged to then spend a day in our classrooms discussing him. So that's what we're doing is we're gonna understand, or we're gonna think about, we're gonna contemplate the power and the importance of Cesar Chavez today. Incredibly pleasant figure in so many ways. And so as you read it, and go watch some documentaries and stuff, YouTube, and he is a very soft-spoken, sort of pleasant figure, man of the soil, but then also has a self-trained sort of scholar. He has like a junior high education, self-trained scholar, and he's reader and thinker, and a visionary. And that's what's important is there's a lot of, for some reason, a lot of emphasis on the development of the union, and I don't think you want to overplay the union. The union is his platform for a bigger vision, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, this is the family. This is Helen. Helen, when you're reading the biography, watch those Helen passages and who Helen is and how he couldn't have done it without Helen. Helen's raising a pile of kids. The kids are, also involved in this. And so you want to see this as a family affair that's really very powerful. And this is the family, the Helen and the family being awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Now, this is later on, Helen's dead. This is when President Obama is naming the March 31st National Day. And this is basically a brother. This is his brother, I think, and then these are kids. And then this is who you're going to need to keep track of, right? She is sort of the right-hand person to Cesar Chavez. She is Dolores Huerta, and this is her as a young person, Huelga's strike. She's much more the political thinker. So when Chavez is thinking big and doing all these sorts of grand things, she gets frustrated with Chavez because she wants to, okay, this has got to be done. This is the policy. This is the thing, sort of narrowly. So she's much more sort of focused on the politics and the union sort of stuff, whereas Chavez goes the other way. So between the two of them, they really are a tag team that worked incredibly well. And this is Dolores Huerta getting the Presidential Medal of Freedom. She is very old. She's probably 87, maybe even 90 now. So within the next 10 years, she'll probably die. And you keep an eye on her in the news and stuff, and it will be a big deal. It will be a big deal, and there'll be a sort of reassessment of her and Chavez and thinking about the importance of the two of them and how they do sort of tag team, especially in terms of politics. But for our purposes, she is not the grand thinking person that Chavez was, the visionary that Chavez was. Chavez is born in Yuma, which is bummer. She's not a true Californian because he was born just across the river on the other side. Dang it. But he is California the rest of his life. There's stuff up in Camarillo. Here's the Salinas Valley where a lot of the later lettuce stuff in the mid-70s is. He gets started in the 60s in the Central Valley here. The Delano sits somewhere about here, and the March on Sacramento goes up the center. And then he is recruited up here in San Jose. So he's sort of all over California. And I asked you to look at that map. He's recruited in San Jose after he gets out of the Navy by this guy, Fred Ross. Here he is as a young man, here he is as an older man, and Fred Ross was what we call a community organizer. Now, this is a term, I just want to lay this out there, and look for how this works in the biography, because This is not like social worker. It's not like a big old category of things. Community organizer means that you worked within a structure which was loosely connected to the thought and leadership of this guy, Saul Alinsky. And it's a mechanism, a program for social change, progress, all sorts of stuff. Hillary Clinton wrote her, I think, a dissertation or something. She did a big paper or something on Saul Alinsky. And then President Obama was a community organizer in Chicago, part of this Saul Alinsky sort of organization. And this young Cesar Chavez is recruited by Fred Ross to be a community organizer, but then he chooses not to be in that structure because that structure is pretty methodical. He has vision, he has purpose, he is going to take this somewhere else. And that's when he moves to the Central Valley, to Delano. And there, he's going to become much more of a Gandhi sort of figure. You know, Gandhi's the guy who overthrew the British Empire, the most powerful entity of the early 20th century, in India. By how? With nonviolence. Okay, it's just like, wow, nonviolence. And so Chavez becomes committed to nonviolence. That's one of the reasons he and Martin Luther King both look to Gandhi as a sort of model of social change through nonviolence. Okay, and both of them are religious figures, and Chavez is actually much more a sort of openly, devotionally religious than King. You always see the Our Lady of Guadalupe paintings and statues and posters and stuff like that with Chavez. Chavez is deeply religious, deeply Christian, deeply connected to his Catholic roots, and he works with the Protestants. And there's a guy named Chris, I forget what his last name is, Chris something. He's in the biography a lot, and he's a Presbyterian minister, and and so this working, and both of them deep religious vision of social change. And so there's a strong, deep rooted Christianness in the Cesar Chavez work, and he comes up with he follows the model, not necessarily of the community organizers, but of Gandhi and the vision of Gandhi. Now, one of the big things then is Gandhi fasts. You see, that's how this creates social change, by you becoming an important figure. The media is watching, and then you're willing to starve yourself. Okay, so the fast is a huge. Martin Luther King never fasted. Cesar Chavez, and other people will fast, and he does it a number of times. And it is very detrimental to his health. This is his mother, Juana. She's always with him. This is always a family affair. Later on, after some big successes with the Union, they established a sort of like bigger idea out here in where it's up near Tehachapi, below Bakersfield, where they have this National Chavez Center. This building was a insane asylum, I think, and then they turned it into a National Chavez Center. And it's here that Chavez runs into some wackiness that we'll talk about in the end, which it tarnishes his reputation. And then in the end, what we want to do is be able to talk about him, is why he is so important. Why is this man so important? It's not because he set up a union. It's not because people with short-handled hose. He had a larger vision of human dignity, but especially of interracial togetherness, a religious concept of this, and then also with that a real heart for the Chicano identity, the Chicano experience in America. This is Juarez Park in San Diego, and Juarez is a very powerful figure also for Mexican nationality, Mexican constitutional rights, all sorts of stuff like that. But Juarez ultimately is political. But Chavez is a vision which will last on and grow increasingly important over your life and your children's life and your grandchildren's life. And so that's why it's so important to teach Chavez well. And read this biography and let's have a good discussion of it.